Before we begin, if you like what you hear on the Tan and J-Man Show, don't forget to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, and go ahead and click subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. We encourage you to interact with us and keep up to date with the Tan and J-Man Show on social media by liking our Facebook page and following us on Twitter and Instagram at Tan and J-Man Show. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy another episode of the Tan and J-Man Show with your hosts Tanner Lee and Josh the J-Man Munt. Good evening, Tan and J-Man Show Nation, and welcome back to another episode of the Tan and J-Man Show podcast. If you're watching live on the ISC Sports Network, you might be wondering why I'm the only one live on camera. Where's Josh? Don't fear, Josh is here, but remotely. What's going on, J-Man?
What up there, T-Dog?
Not too much, and just to assure everybody, I do not have COVID or anything. I just have a small procedure later this week in the middle of the week and have to do a little self-quarantine before that. So that is the reason. We're just taking the extra precaution. So that's why we are doing it like this. But like I said, Josh on the other line. We're ready for an action-packed episode to bring towards you. We got some World Series recap. Like Josh said before we got on the air, feels like it happened a decade ago. We also got some college football and some NFL to get through. So quite a bit to bring to you this evening. But like always, the Tan and J-Man Show is brought to you by The Damn Landing. Whether you want an epic burger, hand-tossed pizza, hand-breaded tenderloin, seafood, craft beer, or a handcrafted cocktail, The Damn Landing is the place to be. The Damn Landing is a bar and grill located on beautiful Lake Manitou that focuses on freshness and quality. And, of course, they got the Damn Smoke, which is available every weekend and features barbecue and steaks. In addition to that, you can wash it down with one of their 16 beers on tap, including a constant rotation of today's best microbrews and domestic flavors, or a handcrafted cocktail made using fresh ingredients. Take in the fantastic views of Lake Manitou in their beer garden or outdoor bar area. It's supposed to be pretty nice this weekend, so it might be one of the last weekends you can take advantage of that. Whether it be by boats or by wheels, the Damn Landing is the place to be, located at 1305 Ewing Road in Rochester.
Are you ready to hear the Birdie Bogey?
A little nervous, but I think I'm ready.
It's an NFL question. Think you have a decent shot to get it.
See, but whenever one of us tells the other one they got a decent shot, it doesn't go very well.
That is my reverse psychology talking right there. Julio Jones had his 58th career 100-yard receiving game on Thursday, which is fourth most all time. Who are the three ahead of him?
Ooh, that's a really good one. I could have guessed a lot of people that were going to be involved in the Birdie Bogey, and I don't think Julio Jones would have been one of them.
Birdie Bogey is brought to you by Noble Gnome LLC for fresh, locally grown, nutrient-dense produce from Bryce and Katie Romine of Mentone, Indiana. Like them on Facebook, follow them on Instagram, and check out their website, noblegnomellc.com.
Wow, I even had to read right here in front of me because I figured you weren't ready to go, but
It is locked in my brain.
It must be. I underestimated the J-Man. I apologize. You're ready to rock and roll and do your part. So. But I do have the On This Day ready for you. Quite a bit this week on this day. On this day in 1895, the first organized auto race in the United States was run, and it was in Chicago. 6 cars were involved. It was a 52-mile lakefront course. Only 2 cars finished because of blizzard-like conditions.
It's a good one.
Yeah. Let's see here. On this day in 1958, the Los Angeles Rams beat the Chicago Bears, and this wasn't last Monday. This was back in 1958, 41-35 before 90,833 fans at the LA Coliseum, the NFL's most single-game attendance record. I believe that still stands. I know Jerry's World can open up to over 100,000, but
I was going to say, I know the old Washington Redskins Stadium used to hold quite a few, too. Or Washington football team. My apologies.
I know FedEx Field, even to this day, holds like 80,000. But, yeah. I'm guessing that's still an attendance record. I'm too lazy to look it up right now, but I'm going to roll with it. On this day in 1960, New York Yankees outfielder Roger Maris beats out teammate Mickey Mantle for the AL MVP award with a vote count of 225 to 222, the second closest vote ever.
Was that the year he hit the 61 or 62?
1960? Gosh, I wish I knew that off the top of my head.
J-Man's here to Google it.
On this day in 1964, Columbia Broadcasting System, CBS, buys 80% share in the New York Yankees baseball club for $11.2 million. Later purchases club outright.
Interesting.
Worth
Roger Maris actually won back-to-back MVPs. 1960 was the year before he hit the 61 homers.
So he hit 61 and 61.
Yep. He hit 39 in 1960.
On this day in 1969, quarterbacks Billy Kilmer of New Orleans and St. Louis's Charlie Johnson each passed for 6 touchdowns for a combined NFL record of 12 passing touchdowns in a game. The Saints went on to beat the Cardinals 51-42 at Busch Memorial Stadium.
Huh.
Also on this day in 1969, 41-year-old Detroit center Gordie Howe picked up his 19th and final NHL hat trick as the Red Wings beat the Pittsburgh Penguins by a score of 4-3. Howe is the oldest player to score an NHL hat trick.
Impressive.
It's a pretty good one. Here's a good one. On this day in 1972, Philadelphia Phillies pitcher Steve Carlton was selected the NL Cy Young Award winner. He won 27 games for the Phillies, and as a team, the Phillies only won 57 games. On this day in 1974, the Atlanta Braves traded then MLB home run king Hank Aaron to the Milwaukee Brewers for outfielder Dave May.
I think that ended up pretty well.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, who knows? He was okay. No, he was pretty bad, actually.
Make up your mind, would you? On this day in 1977, Philadelphia Phillies pitcher Steve Carlton again won his second Cy Young Award, outputting Tommy John of the LA Dodgers. Carlton led the National League with 23 wins and posted a 2.64 ERA.
Tommy John out of?
I don't know where he's out of.
Indiana State.
Could not have told you that.
Born and raised in Terre Haute.
Speaking of Indiana, on this day in 1978, Wayne Gretzky was sold to the Edmonton Oilers after just 8 games with the Indianapolis Racers of the WHA, where he scored 6 points. He scored 104 points in 72 games for both teams combined and is named the WHA Rookie of the Year.
It was pretty good.
There's a reason why his nickname's the Great One.
Yup.
Let's see. I don't know. This is bad. I laughed at this, but on this day in 1988, a Mexican radio station accidentally reported that Mike Tyson had died in a car crash.
We had a good one last week with Mike Tyson with Donald Trump charging him $2 million for 4 months of some sort of work.
Mike Tyson is in these quite a bit, but a lot of times I just don't read it because it's usually not very appropriate stuff. So on this day in 1988, A's shortstop Walt Weiss won AL Rookie of the Year, giving the A's their 3rd straight Rookie of the Year, as Jose Canseco won it in 1986 and Mark McGwire in 1987.
I was going to say Canseco and McGwire were probably the two that won it directly before him.
And Walt Weiss was not a good manager for the Colorado Rockies. On this day in 1990, the first NBA game at the Target Center was held in Minneapolis, Minnesota, as the Timberwolves beat the Mavericks 98-85. Can you tell me who was the top leading scorer for the Timberwolves that night?
For the Timberwolves in 1990,
I will give you $50 if you get this right.
Oh, man, I don't even know who played with the Timberwolves. I have no idea. I don't even have a guess.
Rolando Blackman.
Of course. Of course it was.
Also on this day in 1990, the first regular season game played outside North America by any major professional sports league happened when the NBA's Phoenix Suns beat the Utah Jazz 119-96 at the Tokyo Metropolitan Gymnasium in Japan. And on this day in 1990, a lot of NBA stuff. The Golden State Warriors registered a 162-158 win over the Denver Nuggets at McNichols Arena, with the 320 total points setting an NBA record for most points scored by two teams in a non-overtime game.
A lot of defense being played that game.
Oh, yeah. On this day in 1991, Nevada made the biggest comeback in NCAA football history when they overcame a 35-point third-quarter deficit to rally and beat Weber State by a score of 55-49. On this day in 1994, the NFL announced the expansion. Carolina Panthers would play in the NFC West, while the Jacksonville Jaguars were assigned to the AFC Central. And let's see. On this day, in 1996, Miami Heat's Pat Riley became the 8th coach to win 800 games in a 97-95 win at Indiana. The milestone accomplished 2 weeks shy of his 15th coaching anniversary, the fastest than any coach in NBA history.
Yeah, he's pretty good at what he does, regardless of what he does.
Yeah. And what happened on this day in 2016, J-Man?
I was just about to say, it better be on this website. The Chicago Cubs finally won a World Series. It has been called the greatest day of many people's lives, and it was definitely the greatest day of my life. Can you name who was the MVP?
It's right in front of me here. So.
Okay, and I figured you would have been able to get it anyways, but I was just trying to see if I could stump you.
Ben Zobrist.
Who got the final out?
Chris Bryant threw it to Rizzo, did he?
Yeah, but who was pitching?
I don't remember.
Mike Montgomery.
Yeah.
It was his first career save, and it came in Game 7 of the World Series.
That's a good time to have your first career save.
Not too shabby.
No.
Our old friend C.J. Edwards started that inning.
Our good friend. Yeah, well, something like that. I don't think people yell at their good friends as much as you yelled at good old Carl Edwards over the years.
Didn't have to worry about him this year.
Where did he go?
He was with Seattle. I just saw they outrighted him to AAA, so it clearly didn't go very well for him there either.
Yeah, well.
Happens.
Yes, it does. So, but that is the On This Day segment for this week's episode, and it's brought to you by Proforma Print House. If you're looking for a trustworthy, dependable resource for your next trade show, company picnic, or sales meeting, Proforma Print House has over 50 years combined experience in promotional products and commercial print. They strive for fast and efficient response to all your print needs. You need to look no further. Let them be your one-source print and promotional company to get today. Give them a call at 574-210-3815.
Do you want to stick with a little bit of baseball here before we get into the meat of football?
Might as well.
As Tanner said, it felt like the World Series happened about a year ago, even though it was only 5 days ago. But it was actually 6 days ago, so it's actually a lot longer than I thought. The Los Angeles Dodgers won their first World Series since 1988. Did you watch much of Game 6?
No.
So the Tampa Bay Rays starter, Blake Snell, was just cruising along. He struck out 9 through 5 innings. He starts the 6th inning, gives up a base runner, whatever, still looks pretty good. Old Kevin Cash comes out and yanks him out of the game, even though he had 72 pitches total. Honestly, Kevin Cash might deserve to get fired for that. He went to his bullpen. Bullpen comes in, gives up 3 runs in 3 innings. He's such a numbers and analytics guy, and analytics are supposed to help you make decisions. They're not supposed to force you to make decisions. And I think he just looked at his little spreadsheet or whatever he has and says, oh, this is what we need to do now. instead of just going with emotion and kind of feel through the game, he decided to yank his starter who was absolutely rolling, and it came back to bite him. Now, it doesn't help that they only scored 1 run, but Kevin Cash was rightly crucified for that decision. But, credit to the Dodgers. They were the best team in baseball all season long, and they ended up winning it. That doesn't happen very often. We're the best team throughout the entire season, even though it was only a 60-game season, happened to win the World Series. I mean, you look, 2016 Cubs were the best team in baseball throughout the year. 2018 Red Sox as well. But it doesn't happen very often. But, credit to the Dodgers. Mookie Betts was really good. Corey Seager won the most valuable player. But now the season's over, which means, as our good friend Andrew Eiler would say, now the real season begins. The off season.
Yes, and what are you looking for the Cubs to do in the off season?
It's going to be a real strange offseason due to COVID, of course. I don't think we're going to see that much money spent. It's a real bad time for free agents to hit the market. And you have guys like Trevor Bauer out there who's looking for $300 million for some god for 12 good starts. He'll be wanting $300 million. But no, we've seen guys turn down or teams turn down decline team options on really good players. I mean, Colton Wong's a really good player for the St. Louis Cardinals, as much as I dislike him.
I was going to say, I never thought I'd hear those words come out of your mouth, ever.
He's a really good player. Probably the best defensive second baseman in the game. High contact rate, decent walk rate. They turned down his team option, which was only $12.5 million. I mean, he's easily worth that much. But teams just can't afford this. Brad Hand, the Cleveland Indians closer, who was phenomenal this year, they turned down his team option, which was only $10 million. It's just going to be a really, really weird offseason. And Cubs haven't spent money in a few years, and I don't anticipate them doing that this year either. It's sad because they have quite a few needs in the rotation. John Lester, they declined his team option, paid him a $10 million buyout.
Hey, that helped him. 47,000 of that helped him buy some beers over the weekend for Cub fans.
Yeah, it wasn't 47,000, it was 4,800. But
oh, geez, I read that wrong in the article today. Still a big number. It's still a lot of beers.
That's a lot of beer.
I've seen J-Man ring up a tab, but nothing like that.
Nothing like that, unfortunately. I think I could do it though if I really tried. Actually, I don't know how much. It brought grand total to 4,800. It looks like, is what he just tweeted. But he
48,000. I was way off.
48,000. That wouldn't surprise me. People love their Miller Lite.
Yeah, that's true, and people love John Lester and the Cubs. So
yeah, he had, I think it was 4 or 5 different bars in Chicago. The first round of Miller Lights were on him, just as a thank you to the city. But I do actually expect him to be back on a smaller, like maybe $2 million deal, something like that. 'Cause he's already got his $10 million, so he shouldn't be looking for that much money. Because I don't want John Lester to throw another pitch with another team. It's kind of one of those. He's only been with the Cubs for 6-7 years, but he just seems like he should be a Cub for the rest of his career as well. But it'll be interesting to see what all shakes out. Free agency actually started today. We likely won't hear anything until a few weeks down the road.
How about the other Chicago baseball team? They were in the news, in the headlines this past week.
Yeah, they've made some waves, not very good waves. But, of course, a few weeks ago, they fired their manager, Rick Renneria, who was actually just named one of the 3 finalists for the Manager of the Year award in the American League.
I hope he wins it.
So do I. The White Sox even tweeted about it. Congratulations to Rick Renneria for. But they canned him, and then they hired old school, unlikable drunk Tony La Russa, who hasn't managed since 2011. He's an old school kind of guy. Likely won't mesh very well with this new generation of players. He was criticized for some racist comments he's had as well, which is obviously not good at all. And then he also criticized Fernando Tatis during that whole swinging at a 3-0 pitch thing earlier in the year. If I'm a guy like Tim Anderson, I'm wanting the heck out. I do not want to play for Tony La Russa at all. The game's passing by. As I said, it's been 9 years since he managed.
Yeah, I will say he's won. He's done really well everywhere he's been, but like you said, it's been 9 years now. That's quite a while to be out and come back in the game.
Time. Yeah. I mean, he's been around the game, but still, he hasn't been in a clubhouse setting, especially with a team that's very, very young, like the White Sox, and they're ready to contend. It sounds like this came from the top from Jerry Reinsdorf because he's really good friends with Tony La Russa, which is just mind-numbingly stupid. I mean, it made The Last Dance made Jerry Krause look like the absolute villain. I think it was Jerry Reinsdorf that was the villain. He ruined the Bulls, and now he's on his way to ruining the White Sox. It's so stupid.
It's a head scratcher. I mean, I think a lot of White Sox fans thought they were just doing it to kind of get some publicity behind their coaching search, make some waves. Nope, they were serious the whole time.
Yep, it's mind-numbing. I can't imagine how White Sox fans are feeling. I would be incensed. I'd be so mad.
Yeah. They're not feeling probably pretty good. I mean, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it pans out, I guess. So,
yeah, it will. We'll see.
Before we get into talking about some football, I meant to mention this at the very start of the show, and I forgot because I just forget things. Later this month, on November 28th, will mark the 4-year anniversary of the Tan and J-Man Show, the 4-year birthday, I should say, for the Tan and J-Man Show. And to celebrate that, we decided to do a promo code involving our merchandise, our apparel, whatever you want to call it, for the whole month of November. 20% off most items when you use the promo code FOUR, F-O-U-R, all caps. Use that when you're at checkout, and you can save 20% off most items, sweatshirts, hoodies, zip-ups, long-sleeve T-shirts, short-sleeve T-shirts, mugs, stickers, whole bunch of stuff. So, and you can find that link to our store on our Facebook page, Instagram account, or Twitter account. The link right there has links to all kinds of stuff, and the first link will be the Tan and J-Man Show store. So if you want to support our podcast and look great doing so, please go check it out and use the promo code FOUR anytime throughout the month of November, and you'll get 20% off.
Get your veggies. I forgot to do that.
Maybe we'll do a promo code for them someday. So, college football. Interesting weekend, like really every weekend has been so far in this weird season. I don't know how much Big Ten football you got to watch, but what were your takeaways from the weekend that was in Big Ten land?
So I watched literally 0 seconds of any college football this week.
All right.
But I would say the biggest outcome was Michigan State going to – did they go to Michigan?
They went to Michigan.
And beat them, especially after getting whooped by Rutgers the week before. They went into Michigan and thoroughly trounced them. That was pretty shocking to me.
Jim Harbaugh, now against his two biggest rivals, Ohio State and Michigan State, at home in the Big House, has a record of 1-6.
Solid.
Not good for old Jimmy boy.
I will never forget the game. I don't remember what year it was. Was it about 2015?
2015, yep.
The punter dropped it and then tried to re-kick it.
Yep, and then he got it, fumbled it, and then... Yep.
With 5 seconds left.
I still, to this day, am amazed that the Michigan State guy stayed on his feet. About the 5-yard line, he started to fall down. That would have been catastrophic because at that time, the clock had run out.
Yeah, it had run out. So, and the guy had broken his hip falling into the end zone.
It was worth it.
And I don't know if he even played another down of football.
Well, if not, that's a heck of a way to go out.
That's a heck of a way to go out.
So, Jimmy, it's weird to me if colleges will fire coaches over the season or not. But sure. I think his seat's getting a little hot up there. That this weekend didn't help. That was a bad loss for a Michigan team.
That's a real bad loss, especially going into Minnesota and doing what they did the previous week to follow that up by losing to a rival that's not a very good football team. Not great for them.
Speaking of Minnesota, they didn't have a good weekend either. They went
No.
over to Maryland on Friday night and lost a 1-point overtime game. Kicker missed a chip shot field goal, but really, it shouldn't even came down to that. Minnesota has a lot more talent than Maryland. They should have just went in there and taken care of business, but Tua's little brother, he balled out Friday. Looked like a totally different quarterback than he did the weekend before over in Evanston.
From everything I've read, Minnesota's defense is atrocious.
It is garbage through 2 weeks. They got to figure that out. Or PJ's boat's already kind of sinking right now for this year.
For this season. And again, this is such a weird year. You can't even really evaluate this season. But fans definitely will. They don't care.
No. It's not only talent, it's a lot of luck too with the COVID circumstances. Right. But you can't lose too many games and expect to win the West. I mean, they already have 2 losses. That's put themselves in a hole I don't know if they're going to be able to climb out of. A few other takeaways over the weekend. Of course, we did not get the Wisconsin and Nebraska game. Last Monday, we knew Wisconsin quarterback Graham Mertz probably was not going to play. We didn't know about the rest of the team, and as the week went on and even over the weekend, they just keep getting more and more cases. Now their game against Purdue this weekend's most likely in jeopardy. We'll know tomorrow if it looks like it's going to be played or not. But so Nebraska and Wisconsin did not play, even though Nebraska tried to get a little non-conference game scheduled. The Big Ten did not go for that. Surprise, surprise. But so they didn't play. Purdue won at Illinois. A game Purdue was up 31-10 and then darn near choked up, really. Defense got very conservative. Illinois' fourth-string quarterback started to do whatever he wanted, and it became a little bit of a ball game towards the end. But Purdue survived, got the victory there. Indiana went into Piscataway and came out with a victory over Rutgers. Looked pretty good doing so. I thought Rutgers would put up more of a fight, but they kind of looked back like Rutgers did the past 5 years, really. Ohio State took care of business. Penn State. Ohio State's head and shoulders better than the rest of the conference. But Penn State played all right, but Ohio State's just too talented. And Iowa Northwestern, which I thought was going to be the best game going into the weekend, it was pretty good. Iowa got up 14-0, but couldn't hold on to the lead. Northwestern came back and won, and Fitzy's boys looked pretty good. Peyton Ramsey's making a big difference for that team. Did I forget any game?
It seems like he covered 7 of them.
Okay.
Or six of them without. Yeah. Seems like he covered it.
All right. Well, that leads us to this weekend's slate of games. A lot of pretty good games, at least on paper. Let's start off with the number 23 ranked 1-1 Michigan Wolverines. They're still ranked somehow. I thought they'd maybe drop out of the rankings. At the number 13, yes, that's not a mistake, the number 13th ranked Indiana Hoosiers, who are 2-0. Michigan's a 3-point favorite. Indiana has not beat the Wolverines since 1987. Who do you got, and how many points?
I would first like to say that I won the Big Ten Pick'em from last week, I believe.
You did? We were both embarrassingly bad, getting 3 of 6 picks right.
Yeah, it was a rough week for both college football and NFL Pick'em, but I won both of them. So I deserve that belt. Unfortunately, I can't be there to
It's going to be coming your way here in a little bit. I don't know if you got it on the TV of the channel, but it's coming your way. I
do. I'm watching your blue shirt. But give me Indiana, and I have 1 point on it.
I am also taking the Hoosiers. I think this is their best chance to beat Michigan in a long, long time.
Mm-hmm.
Back-to-back years they've hosted them, even though home field advantage doesn't really matter this year besides just different structure and scenery and everything. I'm taking Indiana for 2 points. Michigan State at Iowa.
Yeah, this was a tough one because Iowa's 0-2, and they're never 0-2. Lost 2 really close games where they probably feel like they should have won. And Michigan State coming off that huge win at Michigan. But I'm taking the home team, Iowa, for 3.
And it'll be interesting to see if Iowa's number 1 wide receiver can play. His last name's Smith. Then it starts with an M. I don't remember.
Smith-Marset.
Smith-Marset got an OWI.
Yikes.
Following their loss the other day. So I'm guessing he won't be in uniform come Saturday. But I am still going with the Hawkeyes, but only for 3 points.
Great minds think alike.
Nebraska at Northwestern.
Nebraska had a bye, essentially, this past weekend. Northwestern's playing really well, and I'm taking the Wildcats, but I only have 2 points on them.
I'm taking the Wildcats as well. Like I said, Peyton Ramsey's really making a difference for this Wildcat team, and, of course, they're a lot healthier than they were last year. You can't really be much more bitten by the injury bug than the Nebraska or than Northwestern was last year. But so I'm taking the Wildcats at home for 4 points. Maryland at Penn State.
Penn State's sitting here at 0-2, a surprising 0-2. I think most people thought they'd at least lose one of the first 2 games,
sure,
but definitely not both. And I think most people thought Maryland would lose both, and they're sitting there at 1-1. I fully believe Penn State bounces back, pretty large as well. I have them for 6 points.
Great minds think alike. Yet again, J-Man, I got the Nittany Lions for 6. If the Nittany Lions lose this one, I don't know.
Get ugly.
Yeah, it could get ugly for good old Mr. Franklin there in Happy Valley. Minnesota Golden Gophers and the Illinois Fighting Illini meet in Champaign, both looking for their first victory of the year.
Illinois, it looks like, will still start their 4th-string quarterback and all of the players that missed last week against Purdue due to the contact tracing will also not play. Regardless, even if Illinois had a full roster, I would still take Minnesota. So give me Minnesota for 4.
I'm taking the Golden Gophers for 5. But I was really impressed with the fight Illinois put up over the weekend, battling that COVID adversity. So credit to Lovey there, but I still think Minnesota's just too talented to fall to the Illini. So Gophers for 5. Purdue at Wisconsin. Assuming this game somehow happens, which I think chances are pretty slim, to be honest, right now.
You had a smart strategy and only put 1 on this one because I didn't even think that could be a possibility. But I'm taking Wisconsin, and I put 5 on them. I just think Wisconsin's defense is too good.
I also put 1 on the game for that reason, and Purdue has not beaten Wisconsin since 2003, but I am taking Purdue because as of right now, they should have pretty much their full team together. Even if Wisconsin plays, we don't know the players that are out.
Sure.
12 guys have COVID, including their original 2nd and 3rd string quarterback, so they're down to their 4th string quarterback. We know that. We know they're more of a running team usually anyways, except they weren't week 1 against Illinois. So I don't know what players are would be able to suit up for Wisconsin. So I'm taking Purdue for 1 point, and that's hoping that they play and hoping that Purdue's offense can air it out again. Aiden O'Connell can keep having a strong season, and David Bell can keep leading the Big Ten in pretty much every statistical category that a wide receiver can lead in. So because I still don't think that number 4, Rondell Moore, will be back this weekend. No idea. It was a new week, same answer today in the press conference, so nobody knows what's going on there. So, and lastly, Rutgers at Ohio State.
Ohio State for 7.
Yep.
If Rutgers wins, I will eat a bat.
No, I'm not allowing you to do that. Nope. Not going there. You can eat something, but we're not eating bats. Nope. All right. You ready to pick some other top 25 games before we get to the
Sure.
NFL? Your Miami University, Florida Hurricanes at NC State.
Give me the Canes. My Canes rolling.
Canes are 9-point favorites, ranked 11th. I'm taking your Canes as well. Really
Beautiful.
good matchup here out in the Mountain West. You got number 9 BYU at number 21 Boise State.
For the first time, the Mormons out there in Brigham Young University are finally playing someone. Give me Boise on that blue turf.
That's the thing. Everybody's talking about the numbers Stewart's putting up, and he's putting up great numbers, but it's like, look who they've played. Nobody.
Yeah, they've played nobody at all.
Boise State rarely loses at home, and I'm taking the Broncos. SMU at Temple.
Who's the ranked one?
SMU is ranked 18th.
Give me SMU.
I am taking the Mustangs as well. Welcome back, Pac-12 football. The MAC is also back this week, but they don't have anybody ranked. But welcome back, Pac-12. Arizona State at number 20, USC.
Give me the Trojans.
I'm taking the Trojans as well, even though I thought about taking Herm Edwards' boys. It's difficult to predict games when they're just beginning the season, but I'm taking the Trojans as well. The Hugh Freeze-led Liberty, I don't know their nickname off the top of my head.
Flames.
Ranked 25th at Virginia Tech.
Give me Virginia Tech.
Yep. Virginia Tech's like 15-point favorites. You don't see that very often from an unranked team against a ranked team.
Yeah, it's cool Liberty's ranked, but I think they get smoked this weekend.
West Virginia at number 22, Texas.
Did Texas end up winning the other night?
They did. They won in overtime over Oklahoma State.
That's a huge win because Oklahoma State was ranked 6th.
Yep, that might take the Big 12 might not have a playoff team now.
Say they're probably out of it already. Give me Texas at home.
I agree. UMass at number 16, Marshall.
We are. Marshall.
Yep.
Give me Marshall.
I'm taking the Thundering Herd as well. Houston at number 6, Cincinnati Bearcats.
Look at those Bearcats. Give me Cincinnati.
I'm taking Cincinnati as well. This could be the year a team like Cincinnati gets into the playoff, but I kind of want to see it. I want to see it because everybody always says, well, there's such a difference level between Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State, and especially to a non-Power 5 team like a Cincinnati or a BYU or a Boise State. Well, let's see it. And if that's the case, we can finally put the book to bed, so to speak.
Yeah.
So,
Luke Fickell knows what the heck he's doing.
Yes, he does. This is going to be ugly. Kansas at number 19, Oklahoma.
Oklahoma by 82.
I laugh, but it's probably going to be something like that. Oklahoma, big, and big some more. The world's largest cocktail party down in Jacksonville, Florida. Number 8, Florida Gators against the number 5, Georgia Bulldogs. Not sure who will be able to play and who will be suspended for the Florida Gators after that huge brawl at the end of the first half against the Missouri Tigers the other night. And I don't know, J-Man, if you've been noticing, but I think Dan Mullen's a little off his rocker lately.
Yeah, he was in favor of having a packed stadium, for one. Then they had a COVID outbreak, and now they have this whole fight thing. I think Georgia smacks them around.
I think they do too. And I don't know if you saw, Dan Mullen was pumping up the crowd going into the locker room at the tunnel at half, came back out again before he went in and pumped them up some more, then walked in. And then in his press conference, he dressed up like Darth Vader. He's losing it, man.
It was Halloween.
It was, but yeah. Number 14, Oklahoma State at Kansas State. Kansas State got smacked by West Virginia over the weekend.
Yeah, Kansas State was ranked at one point. I think Oklahoma State bounces back.
I agree. We have not disagreed yet. Baylor at number 17, Iowa State.
Give me the Cyclones.
I can't disagree. Stanford at number 12, Oregon.
Give me Oregon. I don't know who would be their quarterback this year.
I don't either, but I
think they had a pretty highly ranked quarterback come in last year. I assume he's going to be the dude.
Yeah, Mario Cristobal is supposed to have a pretty good squad there this year. So, the game of the weekend. Number 1, Clemson without Trevor Lawrence at number 4, Notre Dame.
Clemson really struggled with Boston College there for a while. Credit Boston College, though. First-year head coach, they're playing really good football. And with no Trevor Lawrence, I think Notre Dame gets it done and probably cements themselves as a playoff team at this point.
Well, Notre Dame would definitely be in the driver's seat to get to the ACC championship. They would still have to travel to Chapel Hill in a couple weeks, even though North Carolina had a bad loss over the weekend. So they would potentially face either Miami or a rematch against Clemson, which then Trevor Lawrence would probably be ready for. Then it gets interesting. If, say, Notre Dame wins this weekend, then loses to Clemson in the ACC championship, will the ACC get 2 one-loss teams in the playoff?
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting combo if it comes to that.
I'm taking Clemson, but by single digits. I think it's going to be close, but I still think Clemson gets it done. their freshman quarterback still played pretty well the other day. And I think he gets another week under his belt and everything, chemistry with the team. But wouldn't shock me if the Fighting Irish pull it off, but they're going to have to run the ball well, and Clemson's defense stops the run. That's their strength. So, South Alabama at number 15, Coastal Carolina.
Give me the Chanticleers.
Can't believe they're ranked 15th, but I agree. And
they're ranked 15. But how many unranked Power 5 teams would beat them by like 30?
A good majority, yeah.
A lot of them.
Number 7, Texas A&M at South Carolina.
Give me A&M.
I will finally differ with you, and I'm taking the Gamecocks. Give me Muschamp and South Carolina.
I'm going to say Muschamp's time's got to be coming to an end.
He had a big win earlier this year against Auburn. That kind of helped him, but
that helps.
His seat's definitely hot. NFL Week 8, J-Man wins the confident picks, so he wins back-to-back weeks.
You can't see me right now, but I have both fists up in the air.
So the belts, I don't know if you're watching, J-Man, but it is.
I am watching. Let me see it.
Coming your direction, coming towards the screen. So, 3 winners, 3 losers for Week 8.
One winner, once again, the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think they're at least a top 2 team in football right now, them in Kansas City. That defense is nasty. They're scoring a ton of points. Undefeated. They're a big winner, in my opinion.
I had them as one of my 3 winners as well. I think they're the best team in football. They just keep rolling. We both picked the Ravens, so they proved us wrong. Lamar, he struggles in these big games for some reason.
Yeah, he's really struggled with Kansas City.
And I'll tell you, Mike Tomlin, I liked what he did in his post-game press conference yesterday. He kind of ripped his team, even though they're coming off a big win. Didn't think they played well. High standards there in the Steel City. I like it. I like it.
Quite a bounce-back season.
There's a reason they've only had 3 coaches in the last 50 years.
Right.
So, 2 more winners for you.
New Orleans Saints going into Chicago. Very windy Chicago. Drew Brees, for the time being, became the all-time leader in passing touchdowns. Now he'll probably be passed by Tom Brady tonight. He'll go back and forth. But that's a big win for the Saints. Will Lutz was clutch at the end. So they're a winner. Other winner, I just want to brag on the Miami Dolphins real quick. But beating the Los Angeles Rams. Tua Tagovailoa made his first career start. Wasn't great. You could tell he had some rust they needed to knock off. And the game plan was very vanilla because they got up 28-7. So they ran the ball a bunch. But that defense, man, it cemented themselves as one of the best in football. They lead the NFL in points per game against, only giving up 18 points a game. They're forcing turnovers. Their pass rush has been awesome. Emmanuel Ogbah, I don't know if you remember him with the Kansas City Chiefs.
I do not.
He was a second-round pick a few years ago. His career high in sacks was 5.5 his first 4 years. Dolphins signed him on a cheap free agent deal. He's sitting here, 6 sacks. He's third in the AFC, only behind T.J. Watt and Myles Garrett. So he's been a godsend. He blew up Jared Goff in the red zone, and Andrew Van Ginkel picked it up and ran 88 yards or whatever for a touchdown. They became the first team since 2004 to have an 18-point lead in 3 consecutive games. Can you name that team in 2004?
Jeez, you're dating me here.
If you don't get it right and you hear it, you'll be mad at yourself. You got it wrong.
Was it the Colts?
It was the Colts.
Okay.
But yeah, as I said, the defense has been awesome. Brian Flores, his defense in the Super Bowl when he was with the Patriots against the Rams, did the exact same thing that they did yesterday. Forced 4 turnovers. They're playing really, really good football right now. And I'm excited to see how much better the offense is this week against the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, they're right on the Bills' heels for the AFC East, and now there's 7 playoff spots in the AFC, so they're right in the mix.
Speaking of, Chris Mortensen reports the NFL Competition Committee expects to present a resolution to owners based on a contingency of having a 16-team playoff, season 8 in each conference, if games are lost due to the pandemic, especially as bye weeks disappear.
That's fair.
So we could have an 8-team per league playoff. So that, I think, would help a team like the Dolphins out.
Sure. And the Dolphins were one of my winners as well. So you took that from me, which is good. I'm glad you I didn't get to watch any of that game. So you
Another thing was the Rams ran 95 plays yesterday.
That's about the most I've ever heard of.
The Dolphins ran 49. The Dolphins got outgained by over 300 yards. Dolphins had 147 yards of total offense.
That's what turnovers do to you.
But they won by 11. They forced 4 turnovers, including have a defensive turnover, and they had a punt return touchdown.
Yeah.
That always helps as well. So that first half, Dolphins barely had the ball at all, and they were up 28-7.
Back to you mentioned the Saints beating the Bears, and I just wanted to say this before I forgot. I always chuckle whenever the Saints play out in an outdoor, like, cold weather environment. The analysts always talk about, this is no problem for Drew Brees. He played in Big Ten country. That was 20 years ago.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
He played at San Diego and then in a dome in New Orleans his whole career. He's not that used to it anymore. So I always just kind of get a chuckle out of that. But my third winner is the Indianapolis Colts. I thought they were going to be in for a dogfight yesterday up in Detroit, and they really put it on them on the second half. Thought their defense played very well against a pretty good quarterback. And Colts are 5-2 now with a home game against Baltimore this weekend.
Yeah, it's a big one.
3 losers, J-Man.
Green Bay Packers.
They're one of mine, too. Did you read my notes?
I did not. That was just a listless performance against an absolutely listless Vikings team. And today, it was announced they had a couple COVID positive cases, including second-round pick A.J. Dillon, who's been in the running back room with Jamal Williams. And those are their top 2 guys right now, with Aaron Jones being hurt.
I got Jamal Williams on my fantasy team, so he will test positive for COVID.
I don't know when Aaron Jones is supposed to be back, but that's not great for them.
They're hard to figure out. 2 weeks ago on the podcast, you called them. You thought they were potentially one of the top 3 teams in the NFL 2 weeks ago.
And then they get annihilated by Tampa Bay and then have this terrible performance at home to a bad team.
Yep.
They're tough to figure out.
Another loser for me is the Tennessee Titans.
They are on my list as well.
They went in Cincinnati and just got punched and never recovered.
Yeah. Man, Joe Burrow is going to be really, really good.
The Bengals are going to be really, really good in future.
They really are.
The Bengals and the Dolphins, if the Dolphins somehow finish under 500, which I don't think they will, I will say both teams won't finish under 500 for quite a while after this year.
You're underestimating the Dolphins' futility.
I think they're set up pretty good though in the future. They got a lot of picks coming from Houston. I think they're set up pretty good.
The Cleveland Browns.
Oh gosh.
Are another of my loser. They lose OBJ for the season, then go out and score 6 points against the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, the Raiders didn't even put up great stats.
No, that was awful.
It's what the Browns do. We talk about it every week.
Yep.
So up and down. You just can't jump on the bandwagon.
No, I cannot. I just can't do it with the Browns. They're always going to be the Browns. I don't care how good or easy their schedule is the rest of the way. It's just they're the Browns.
My third loser is the Los Angeles Chargers. Of course, I was happy the Broncos came back, and they made some good plays to spear that comeback, but the Chargers have now 3 weeks in a row lost leads of 16-plus points. It is engraved in their culture, kind of like the Falcons.
The Falcons and Chargers play each other here in a few weeks.
Yep. They're going to tie.
Something I was going to say is probably both will get up 21 at some point, and then it'll be a tie game at the end.
The Chargers have always been known to me since I've been passionately watching the AFC West as chokers and a team that just gets injured all the time.
Injured a bunch, yep. I'm with you.
Trust me, I'm thrilled that the Broncos came back. They were sitting dead in water down 24-3, and I was not a very happy camper. But they came back and helped me have a really good sports weekend, which I rarely have.
I was going to say, that's a rarity.
So I'm going to take it and run. So, all right, let's pick some games for Week 9, starting with a Thursday nighter. Green Bay at a very once again injured San Francisco 49er team.
Yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be out a few weeks again. I know Green Bay is could be without their whole running back room, but I still think they go in there and win. And I'm having for 12 points.
I made these predictions before I heard the news about Jimmy G and George Kittle being out 8 weeks with a broken foot.
And George Kittle, yeah, that's right.
But I love Kyle Shanahan, but I'm going with Green Bay, but I only put 1 point on it.
That was a lot smarter than 12.
Well, it could get you a big lead. So, the Denver Broncos at the Atlanta Falcons. This game was originally supposed to be in London, as Joey Tribbiani would say. Who do you got?
Denver, as you said, coming off a huge comeback win. Maybe that can get them kind of taken off here. Drew Lock needed that fourth quarter.
Oh, yes, he did.
He might have been in danger of getting benched.
It was my Twitter feed was interesting yesterday. Let's just say that.
But going on the road, I'm picking the Falcons for 8.
I got the Broncos for 2. They've won 3 out of the last 4 games. Even though that loss was an annihilation to the Chiefs, but I'm just hoping this does get them rolling and can get them going a little bit. So I'm taking the Broncos for 2. Seattle at Buffalo, good game here.
Buffalo squeaked one out against a legitimately bad Patriots team. The Patriots were going in to win the game and Cam Newton just completely lost control of the ball.
He's done.
Yeah, he's done. The Patriots are done. But I think Seattle is one of the best teams in football, and I have them going in there and winning, and I put 11 points on them.
This is going to be such an interesting week because you're going high with points. I'm going low, and we're differing a lot already. I'm going with the Bills for 3.
See, now we won't be close this week, which is nice.
Yes.
One of us will absolutely run away with it, and the other will not.
It's either the Bills coming back home to me, or you're going to be a 3-week-in-a-row winner.
3-peat.
Ugh. Chicago Bears, they're waking up, J-Man. They're waking up.
It was a matter of time.
The Tennessee Titans.
That old Wims fella, what's his first name?
I don't remember.
I don't either. But he threw a couple open hand slaps to a face mask.
He tapped the guy on the shoulder. That was my favorite pointer. Kind of pulled him, and then he hit. And the guy just looked at him after he hit him.
Is it Denzel Wims?
That sounds right, but I've never understood punching somebody with the helmet on. Never will.
That's so stupid. I think Tennessee bounces back, and I put 10 on them.
I did too. Exact same pick. Tennessee for 10. Baltimore at Indianapolis.
I think Baltimore bounces back, and I think they go on the road and beat them, and I have 4 points on them.
I have 4 points as well, but I'm taking the Indianapolis Colts.
Man,
liked what I saw. I feel like I don't pick the Colts enough, and I hear it from Colt fans and especially Bear fans. I haven't picked the Bears in like 5 straight weeks, so I'm taking the Colts for 4. Carolina Panthers at the Kansas City Chiefs.
Panthers coming off a bad loss at home to Atlanta. Teddy Bridgewater got hurt. I think he came back in, so he should be good to go. But I have the Chiefs for 14.
I have the Chiefs for 12. Mahomes, 21 touchdowns, 1 pick right now. It's pretty remarkable.
Yep.
Detroit at Minnesota.
This is one that I kind of did a coin flip on who would win, but I put a lot of points or medium amount of points on the winner. The Minnesota Vikings I'm taking for 7.
I got the Vikings for 8, so we're pretty much on the same page there.
Yep.
The New York Giants at the Washington football team.
Giants play tonight. Daniel Jones is 1 turnover away from matching Jameis Winston for most in the past 2 years.
That's not a good category to be in the category with Jameis.
However, I am picking the Giants to win that 1 for 1 against the football team.
I'm taking the Washington football team for 11.
Wow.
Don't be shocked if this Washington team wins the NFC East.
That would be shocking.
It's such a bad division. I mean, Philly's got to get healthy soon, and then they should run away with the division.
They have such a mediocre quarterback, though.
Yeah, he's got to start playing better. That
whole division is just filled with bad quarterbacks now that Dak's hurt.
It really is. The Cowboys scored more points in the fourth quarter the last time they had Dak in the fourth quarter than they have in all the games since 24-20.
That DiNucci fella was not good last night.
No. Houston at Jacksonville.
Gardner Minshew looks like his at least game is over this week. I don't know if he's hurt or if they're just making the switch. It sounds like they're going to do that second or that 6th round pick. I don't even remember his name, but give me Houston for 6.
I got Houston for 9. Las Vegas at the LA Chargers.
I wish I would have put more points on this one, but I did this before the Broncos-Chargers finished, and I never changed it. But I have the Vegas Raiders for only 2 points.
I got the Raiders for 7, and that makes me want to throw up. Pittsburgh Steelers at Dallas Cowboys.
Dallas, if DiNucci has to start again, Dallas will not score a single point. Give me Pittsburgh for 13.
I got the Steelers for 14. Dolphins at Arizona. This was a tough one for me to pick.
Dolphins have to get more out of their offense. Offensive line has to play better. They're facing a worse defense than they did yesterday in Arizona, but they're facing a better offense as well, in my opinion. So it's an interesting contrast of styles, but I'm picking the Dolphins for 3.
Taking the Cardinals for 6. Wouldn't surprise me one bit, though, if Miami wins that game. Good Sunday night game. Rematch from week
Finally.
1. New Orleans at Tampa Bay.
Give me Tampa Bay for 5. I fully expect them to blow out the Giants tonight, and we won't even have to worry about them losing a game to New Orleans.
Got the exact same pick. Tampa Bay for 5. Don't really have to say much more. And the Monday night game next week is trash. New England at the New York Jets.
Yeah, that's a bad one. Combined 2-13 record. If New England loses this one, it could get real bad there. But I cannot imagine they do. Give me the Patriots for 9.
I got the Patriots for 13. And before we get to the Birdie Bogey, I know, J-Man, you probably forgot you did not do a Book It this week.
Oh, yes.
But the J-Man's Book It prediction of the week is brought to you by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Travis Watering for life, home, auto, renters, business, workers' comp, and farm insurance. Give Travis a call at 219-869-4561.
I actually have a Birdie Bogey real quick. So they
announced... You got to book it, you mean? Or
book it real quick. They announced the finalists for both manager and Cy Young Award. David Ross is one of the managers, and Yu Darvish is one of the Cy Young contenders. Give me Yu Darvish. Book it.
Pooh Darvish for Cy Young. You heard it there. And you can reach Travis by email at travis.watering@infb.com. Hit me with the Birdie Bogey really quick, J-Man.
Julio Jones had his 58th career 100-yard receiving game on Thursday, which is 4th most all time. Who's the top 3?
Marvin Harrison?
Yes, that was the one I thought you were going to miss.
Randy Moss?
Yeah.
Terrell Owens.
Oh, my gosh, Tanner! No!
Jerry Rice.
Jerry Rice.
Yep. Oh, well.
I thought for sure Marvin Harrison was the one you might switch.
Just came to my name right away. I don't know why. And then, of course, I forget the greatest wide receiver of all time. That's just awesome.
Julio is one 100-yard receiving game away from tying Harrison, so he'll jump into the top 3 here soon.
Darn it. Jerry Rice.
I thought for sure you got that one.
Yep. I'm going to sign off there. So, thanks to everybody for watching this week's episode of the Tan and J-Man Show. J-Man will be back in the studio next Monday, so thanks for putting up with just me on your TV screens, my ugly mug on your screens. Thanks to everybody listening. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please give us a rating and review. That helps us out a lot. And we'll be back next week, same time, same channel. Stay healthy, stay safe, and stay sane.